Leaving a multi-millionaire husband? What if I get a lottery ticket and then tomorrow we're multi-millionaires?
It's not gonna happen.
You are just not a believer. 100% there is pee on your walls. Oh my gosh, it's a serial killer. Hey guys, welcome to today's episode. I am super excited to greet you in for today's adventure. The theme of our episode is expect the unexpected. So we're going to have some plot twists. There are going to be interesting surprises in these stories. We're going to be diving into a bunch of Reddit stories, mostly from Am I the A-hole, where OPs are wondering whether or not they are in the wrong. Now, I do want to give you guys a shout out because thank you. I was feeling so down in the dumps about my hair last episode. You should have seen me. I was full on panicking before our episode, guys. I was playing with the blow dryer. I was playing with the curling iron, with the hairspray. It was a mess. I'm starting to come to terms with maybe I'm just natural straight hair girly and that's the way I should go. I don't know. But I will be using some of your hair tips. Some people suggested hair glossing. I will take it to heart and we will see how it goes. Now, let's get into today's episode. Our first story is from the subreddit aita. Am I the a-hole for leaving my husband after he won a large sum of money? Throwaway for privacy, my 32-year-old female husband, 36-year-old male, was in a work accident several years ago and he won a court case in which he was awarded a sum in the multi-millions. My husband and I live in the US and have been struggling for years, especially since his accident, since he hasn't been able to work a job in his specialty since. He's mainly been working minimum to low-wage jobs because of his degree and trade experience are in an industry his body can no longer work in. I make pretty good money, but again, we live in the economical hellscape that is America. In the last year since the settlement, my husband has become the most smug, stuck-up, pretentious man I've ever known, and I'm sick of it. Our friends and family aren't good enough for us anymore because now we have money. Our home and cars and clothes weren't good enough for us, and anyone with a small house, paid-off car, or mall clothes was sad and depressing. He judges people hard and he's not quiet about it. He's mean and rude to the people we interact with. Ooh, this is interesting. I think that people like to think about the idea of, oh, what happens when someone strikes gold or someone makes it big or someone, wins the lottery or something and becomes a millionaire overnight, right? And in a way, I think depending on who you are prior to coming to money, it can be a good or bad thing getting that money. I think generally people think, oh, who wouldn't want to win millions of dollars, right? But I remember reading an article a few years ago, and I read it to M, my fiance, who's also joining with us, Mr. Deep Voice, that most lottery winners actually end up really poor or back where they started before playing the lottery. And a lot of it is because either they get harassed by family members for piece of the pie. They need help. All of a sudden, Aunt Betty needs her house paid off and she thinks she's entitled to it or whatnot. Or people start spending like they've never seen money before, right? Where people get, little lifestyle inflation and they start spending like no tomorrow. And I think people also forget that you got to pay taxes on your winnings. So it's not like you get all of it in bulk right away. So I am really, surprised that OP's considering leaving her husband after he's winning the money. Not to say that it's like, oh, well, he's an a-hole, but you should stay for the money, but financial security, guys. I'm just saying, I'm not supporting, staying in unhappy relationships for money, but leaving a multi-millionaire husband, how much has he changed? Is he a completely different person? What's the scale on the meanest level are we talking about? As in, okay, he talks about people and he gossips more now versus are you sure the money is not worth it, OP? I don't know. What do you think?
Well, if you're just talking about the money, I have a feeling that the OP is going to get some part of that money because they're currently married.
Oh, you're right. Because it's wealth that came in after.
Well, I guess.
After marriage, right? Is that how it works usually with assets?
I'd say so, but don't quote me on this.
We are not sharing legal advice here, guys. Okay, this is speculation.
Right. They could have also had a prenup or something like that, but
True.
Doesn't seem like that's the case here.
It's interesting to me that not only like that, most people kind of go through the same trope when they go in a lot of money. They start spending like crazy. They become, well, many of them become a little bit more smug. They start acting like, I'm better than you attitude. It's just very weird because when you think about it, why do people change so much? Monetary, like, I think that's something that is very nice for solving your problems, right? Like if you're worried about bills, if you have hardships that you can help other family members with, it's supposed to be a good thing.
Yeah, I don't think it's the money that necessarily changes the people. I think those people were more or less like that. They just didn't have a way to
Express it.
express it or be in a position where they can
Oh.
act the way where it doesn't necessarily financially impact them. And
Mm,
overall, I think it also there is a difference of how you came to that money. Let's say if you
yeah.
I don't want to say like work hard and save the money, invested the
Like
money,
over
or
time.
had a business and the business grew. I think I would probably guess that it's you have a maybe lesser chance of becoming completely, kind of act
Off the
crazy, yeah,
rails.
off the rails versus if you just came into that money overnight.
Mm. See, I've speculated with M before, right? I said, what if I play the lottery? Like I, just do something small like once a month or something. Cause I used to have a friend, a college girlfriend, and her thing was every single week she would buy a lottery ticket, one lottery ticket. Because she said, you know what? It's just something I'm gonna do. Like if it works out, it pans out, like I'm set for life. It'll be really fun. It's just like a nice thing. It's just a fun thing for her, right? And I told Em, like, I consider myself fairly lucky as a human being. I won a lot of raffles. I won a lot of like sweepstakes, things like that. I mean, okay, nothing like OP over here with the multi-millions. That would be really nice. But it's more like little like we've gotten a steamer before. I'm very proud of that steamer that we got. We're about to test it out actually, guys, to test out for dumplings. But I told Em like, what if? But Em over here has always been like, yeah, okay, but the odds, the mathematical odds of people winning are like close to zero. I mean, which is okay, true, but what if I get a lottery ticket and then tomorrow we're multimillionaires?
It's not gonna happen.
You are just not a believer. It could happen. It could happen. Now, I do want to say this is also not supporting to anyone into gambling or playing lottery, especially if you are not financially able to or you have addictive tendencies. Please don't do it, guys. Don't do it. What would you do? Wait, what's the first thing you would do though if we became millionaires overnight? What's the first thing?
Hmm.
What would you guys do? Like, let me know in the comments. Well, I was thinking, let me know in the comments what you would do. Like, first thing that comes in your mind, you just won like $1 million or $2 million, whatever. Like, you're set. What do you want to do? I feel like first thing I'd want to do is, well, probably pay off any like bills that we have because I want to be okay financially, like erase any bills, like if it's house or electricity, anything like that, more like lifestyle based, like general maintenance, I guess. Or if we needed to do like replace the roof or fix the plumbing, I would want to do all that first. I know, very boring. And then the second thing I would do is I would set aside a part of a budget to go like have a really nice steak dinner at our favorite restaurant.
Who says we can't do that now?
I mean, yeah, we can, but it's different because then it would be like,
I guess
ooh,
to celebrate it.
yes, to celebrate. And also, okay, when I'm at a restaurant, I always look at the prices. Okay, the prices will dictate what I'm gonna order a little bit. Not like, okay, I'm gonna get the cheapest thing on the menu, but between what is it like Kobe steak, which the price is like much more expensive than a regular like American steak, right? That kind of changes my mind and influences my decision a little bit. But now we can even go to those restaurants where they don't even list the prices. It's it's legit when you go to a place and you're like, "Ugh, I just want this, and you don't even look at the numbers.
Yeah, I guess if well, besides just I guess having some kind of celebration, I would probably seek some professional advice as to how
Oh,
to best invest or handle the money. Of course, I
that's
think I
smart.
would end up probably investing the money and living off of those investments
Yeah.
in some capacity. I guess depends how much money that is. But Realistically, I think that would be my plan.
I love, well, I feel like we have very boring answers to this question. People probably have some lifelong dream that they have. And I feel like ours is just like, yeah, we got to pay off bills. Let's figure out how to invest it and then go to a nice restaurant dinner. And I was like, I don't think our lifestyle would change that much other than I'd probably quit my job. I quit my job, guys. I would go travel more. But I don't think I would say, okay, start spending like crazy. I would kind of splurge on certain things, but not much more than what we usually spend, to be honest. I don't know. You think we would change our minds if we actually got them multi-millions winnings, or you think we'd be the same people?
I think it depends how much it is, because there's a huge difference
Oh,
between winning, let's say, 2, 3 million
right.
versus winning, let's say, 100 million.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a whole different ballgame right there.
right, right. Because I think a million is more like, oh, like that's nice. I feel less financial burden and stress, and now I feel okay to, maybe pursue some other things in our lives, and we're set. But 100 million, okay, time to do some weird experience. Like we'd probably go to one of those like Michelin star restaurants where you like put on a VR headset and you're supposed to eat with the five senses. It's a thing.
Why are all the things food related?
Oh yeah, you're right. Well, I think it's a good way to spend money. But let's see what OP says. OP says, of course, we got nicer things when he received his money, but he was adamant on luxury things. And Tim, anyone who doesn't live in a mansion on the hills with a Lamborghini and Gucci shoes is embarrassing. He gets upset with me for not wanting to spend crazy amounts of money. Why would I buy a $2,000 pair of shoes when I can get a pair just like it for $60? It feels like giving a child with no concept of money $20 and setting them free in a Dollar Tree. He's bought me a ton of expensive clothes and jewelry, new electronics. He pays for high end spa days and even bought me a new car. I feel like an ungrateful bitch for saying this, but I don't really like the gifts. Nothing is my style or taste. He's buying it just because it's expensive. Oh, that's so tacky. Okay, there's a slogan, right? Isn't there like a line that's something like, money can buy you things, but it can't buy you a sense of taste? I feel like I butchered that on. My point here is, it gets tacky. I think it's very tacky if you start buying every single thing expensive, whether or not you like it, whether or not it's quality, because price doesn't always dictate quality either. Sometimes you're just being dumb. If you're just throwing money on things, I think it's very nice that he's trying to spoil OP his wife, but this is just not the way to do it. I have a feeling OP and or ex-husband, depending on how this pans out, is going to end up back where they were.
Probably worse off, I would say. The money's not, at least it seems the way they're spending it, the money's not going to last. And they might potentially overspend it and get accustomed to that and go into debt. So,
It's really weird with the character change too. Like I agree with you, he's definitely going to go into debt, but he came from, like, he is the same as the people who he looks down upon. He's like, "Oh, if you don't have $2,000 Gucci shoes or you don't live in a house in a mansion, you're not good enough." Wasn't that you like a week ago, OP, prior to winning this money? So is that not like a hypocritical thing? Is he not, does he not see the irony of the situation? Also, can we talk about the fact that some luxury items I will never understand? Thankfully, Em and I don't really have like, I guess, luxury taste. Like we'll spend money where it counts if it's something's like made of very good quality or it's something lasts long, like investment pieces. That makes sense. But we're not like brand name people. Like one thing I will say, I'm not a fan of the Yeezy shoes, guys. The things that look like they're like foam gliders, or like there are certain shoes, like what is it? The ones that look like they have five individual toes. If I wanted to look like my entire foot silhouette was out there in the wild, I would just wear socks and walk barefoot, or like just go barefoot. There's a reason why humans have chosen the ideal shoe shape, which is generally like you cover all the toes. So it's like one ambiguous round shape, right?
well, apparently that is not the ideal shoes for you.
Oh, because of like ergonomics with the foot.
Yeah, apparently your toes, I guess, spread out naturally if you're walking. So there's, I think, what's it? I don't know what they're called, barefoot shoes or something like that. That kind of look like you're.
Like it's just like a sock. Like imagine like a compression sock on your foot, but you can see each of your toes.
Uh,
I'll pan up a photo if you guys are watching me instead of listening. But okay, I stand corrected. Maybe we all need to start investing in $2,000. Well, I don't know if they're $2,000, but
no, no, no.
expensive
They're
like
way cheaper.
toe shoes.
Yeah, but even I think you mentioned earlier Yeezys. Like I think
Yeah,
you're talking about Yeezy slides.
yeah, they're hideous.
I mean, to each their own about the styling, I guess.
It's so ugly.
And I mean, they're not cheap either, but I
No,
don't
they're
think they're
expensive.
crazy expensive. I think they're around $100 or so each pair, which is not cheap, but I don't think it's that crazy either.
I am feeling some sort of way with OP spending. Although I'm not gonna lie, if he was spending this much cash on food and restaurants, maybe I would be having a different discussion with you guys. So let's see. OP says, my husband harasses me daily to quit the job I love and says I make us look bad by working and making us still look poor. I'm just laughing. Honey, can you please harass me to quit my job because I'm making us look too poor? Would you like to turn me into trophy wife?
I wish. I wish we were financially able to do that.
I wish we were in a financial position to even like consider this a thing. Like, oh, we don't want to look poor. Oh my gosh. What is working? What is that? Opie says he gets upset if I want to go to the same chain restaurants we've always liked, Buffalo Wild Wings, Jack in the Box, etc., instead of 5-star Michelin steakhouses and sushi places because we can afford it now. He's even gone as far as trying to push me towards plastic surgery because we can afford it, so why not? He suggested a boob job, BBL, lip filler, and at one point, that surgery where they removed the bottom rib. I feel like he's starting to think I don't look good enough for him and our new lifestyle. We've gone to couples therapy. His attitude isn't improving. It's even gotten worse, and I'm miserable. This is not the man I married. I don't want to have kids and raise a family with him, but I'm afraid that if I leave, everyone will cry, gold digger. We married when we were young and broke and didn't consider a prenup because we had nothing. Dumb, I know, but we were kids. Am I the a-hole? Guys, unfortunately, I am not a millionaire. But you know what would make my day and make me feel as if I was? It's if you guys hit subscribe right now and hit that like button, guys. Let's get to 3K together. Thanks.
I don't understand the comment of we we didn't consider the prenup. I know dumb. I don't understand that.
So I think prenups didn't used to be as popular, but nowadays in I guess modern society, everyone talks about prenups like they have like every couple that is smart will do it. And the idea is that if like you are coming into a marriage protecting yourself, because it's not just that you're dividing your assets like before getting married, I guess if something were to go wrong, but it's also to protect your future of, oh, like this is what I'm bringing to a relationship. This is mine. Or if you know, if we divorce, I guess what happens to the cats, like, or what happens to the animals, or who gets this house, or who gets my parents' house, or what happens to our money, and I guess things like that. So I think nowadays it's become way more, I hate to say the word, but trendy for prenups where it's advised. I think prenups can be a good thing. It's a smart thing and great and beneficial for people who want to do that and plan it.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe where it makes sense and where there's a huge, uh, I guess not just income disparity, but wealth disparity. If you're going into a marriage,
Yeah.
I can see that maybe making more sense. But if you both have about, I guess, the
Like same.
same, then I mean, whatever you earn as a couple in the
It's
future, I
supposed to be
think it would
together.
make sense to me because you are, in my opinion, you're going into a partnership, right? You're
Hmm.
joining pretty much everything together. So yeah, I don't know. That to me it seems strange that the default would not be not to get one, but to think that oh everyone should get one just because I guess I don't know. You mentioned a couple of reasons, but I think it's in my opinion should be default. Maybe like just think about whether you need one, but not necessarily get one.
Yeah. Like you have to get one. Like people shouldn't feel pressured to do that.
Right.
I think the problem is, surprisingly, a lot of people end up getting married without ever having a financial conversation with each other. So then it becomes like this whole big surprise. And some people get married and then they find out, oh my gosh, one partner has a ridiculous amount of debt that they were hiding the whole time. And then now they're kind of together. So it's like, what are you going to do? You're going to say, oh, well, sucks to be you, like hubby or wife. Like you're going to have to shoulder that debt alone. It's like, no, now it's like a both people's thing. But let's see what some of the comments say. First comment from newest account. Settlements in the multi-millions are still not enough to afford Lamborghinis. If this is real, he'll be broke within 10 years. Oh, which is kind of what you said. He's spending like no tomorrow. Another comment from Thin Data. No, leave him. He's going to blow through that money soon enough. Keep all the gifts and sell them once you're divorced. He's told you to get plastic surgery. If you don't, he'll just cheat because he knows gold diggers will be after him. Oh, okay. Okay, this pissed me off and I forgot to comment. How dare he casually throw in, no, honey, we're so rich. No, you know what? We're so rich. You might as well go for a BBL, boob job, lip filler. How long has he been thinking about this? How long has he been holding on to these thoughts? If OP was saying, hey, I've always wanted to get these things done, what do you think? And he offered an opinion, that's different, right? Her body, she wants to do something with it, fine. But no, he is offering unsolicited advice and commentary and critique on her body, going, so that BBL, lip filler, boob job, how about it? How about it? Unsolicited? Horrible. That's you literally telling your partner, I don't think the way you look right now is good enough for me and our new lifestyle. I'm sorry, but I've upgraded my lifestyle. I've upgraded wealth. So as my wife, you better upgrade yourself because as you are is not good enough. That is insanity. I would lose my top. OP, you are not the a-hole for leaving your husband. And no, like people can say whatever they want. They're going to say whatever, right? But the fact that he's an a-hole doesn't change. I think the least that he could do for wasting your time and the emotional damage and distress is pay the alimony, if there's any left after his crazy spending. What do you think? Is OP a gold digger for leaving her husband?
No.
I don't think so. I don't think she's a gold digger. So most of the comments, there's no verdict yet since the story is fairly new, but most of the comments are also saying not the a-hole. Now, if you guys have tuned into an episode before, you know what time it is. It is time for the wild story. Wait, do I call it wild card or wild story? Wild pick? I think I usually call it wild pick.
Yeah, wild pick.
Wild pick. Wild pick is basically just that, a story that's a little kooky, a little chaotic, a little bit out there, maybe silly sometimes, but I wanted you guys to hear it. So this one is from the subreddit, Am I Overreacting? Am I overreacting? I caught the plaster doing work in my kitchen, peeing into his plaster mix that he was about to put on the walls. I want everything he has already plastered removed and done again by someone else. Am I overreacting? I know nothing about house fixing, construction, home improvements. However, I know enough to envision a worker peeing into some sort of bucket and then slathering this pee bucket mix onto OP's walls. How did you offend this person, OP? I don't know what other reason or how else this could have happened. And also, who does this? Is this a common, I don't want to say practice, but a common way of revenge towards disgruntled homeowners? What? Have you ever heard of anything like this?
No, but playing devil's advocate.
What could be the devil's advocate to this?
I mean, I guess if you're a construction worker, if you're working at the houses where there's no plumbing or the bathrooms are not yet installed,
oh my God,
you gotta go somewhere.
Oh my.
So maybe it's like some
emergency
industry hack there to
industry hack is, hey, when you gotta go, you gotta go.
Just go in the plaster, in the mud, or whatever you call it.
I am dead. Okay, so my working theory is this is a revenge story, okay? Like plaster's doing it on purpose. He has malicious intent. He is trying to ruin OP's home because maybe OP broke his heart. Maybe. That's the thing. So I haven't read through the story yet before sharing with you guys. I read the title and I was like, okay, this is it. This is one we're going to share. M's theory is that perhaps this is an industry hack and the poor dude had nowhere to go to a bathroom and he had to do it.
And see, maybe he needs to add some water into the plaster mix.
No.
So 2 birds with 1 stone.
No. Oh my God.
I'm joking, but I think probably should not do that.
I just can't.
Not probably. You should not do that.
Yes. Disclaimer, he's not serious. He's not actively advising any plasters listening in to do this. Obi says, okay, I will try to keep this short as I possibly can. I've been having work done on my kitchen. It is through a larger company who I tell what I want. They tell me how much it will cost and deal with everything else. Everything's been fine, apart from lack of communication on their part. This was until the plasterer showed up on Thursday. I have complained elsewhere on Reddit about him looking for advice. He just didn't want to do the job. He has not stopped muttering under his breath and complaining since he started, and he's really, really dragging his feet. It got so bad on Friday, I contacted the site manager, explained that I couldn't listen to him complain anymore, and the speed of work was simply not where it needed to be. The site manager assured me he would be moved to a different job. Well, lo and behold, he wasn't. I was out of the house when he came today, and the other guys on the site let him in and then left to go and get some things they needed. Not too happy about this at all. I come home, he has stood in my kitchen over his bucket of plaster, and he's just pissing in it like a racehorse. I screamed at him, "What are you doing?" He zipped up, looked shocked, and shouted, "It's not what it looks like." What the fuck else does it look like? Opie, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for several reasons. One, this is not a situation anyone ever wants to encounter after a long days of work. You come home to your kitchen to this horrific sight. That's just, I don't even know what I would even say. Second off, was he going to actually use this bucket for the walls? Like, I know he's peeing in the bucket, but was he going to do something with the plaster in the bucket with the pee?
Right, maybe the bucket was empty.
One can hope. Let's see. Opie says, I told him to get out, which he did without argument. I rang his site manager again. He obviously didn't believe me. Why would you believe me? Why would anyone do that? But I think the fact I was in hysterics has made him believe at least something has happened. The thing is, this guy has had a few periods of time where he's been on his own. So I don't know if this is the first time he was peeing in the bucket or if all the plaster that is already on my walls is mixed with his urine. So I've asked them to remove all the plaster and start again. Or I'm ending the contract with them and I will find someone else. They said it would cost me extra. Am I mad here? Am I overreacting? I mean, I don't think I can prove that he has done this, but I don't want to take the chance. I think I'm in shock. Like, who the F does this? I'm taking a moment to process this because I'm just going to say it. 100%, there is pee on your walls. There is, like, I don't know how many grams of pee per plaster, like, ratio we're talking about here, but you've been cooking in a pee-infested kitchen, OP. I am so sorry for you. And the fact that the company is just saying, well, if you want that done, I guess you'll just have to pay extra. I would scrape some of that plaster off and send it to the lab to get tested. There must be some sort of test out there that can identify if human pee is mixed in with your walls, right? I hope. Can any chemist chime in here? I would hope, right? I would save the bucket of pee. This is going to sound so nutty. Save that bucket of pee. Take photos of everything. Like, take photos of the bucket, like timestamp, like write down a record of everything that happened that you believe. Report this to the police as well. I don't know what the police would do here. Maybe this is a civil case. I don't know how this report would go. Like, hi, 911, what's your emergency? Oh, well, someone was peeing in my kitchen and sprayed their pee into the plaster and used the plaster to put on my walls. Like, it sounds very wild saying it out loud, but maybe this is where you should call the authorities as well. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think I would go there.
You wouldn't call the cops? He peed on your walls indirectly.
See, I don't understand what the state of their house is. Is it like, I guess, a newly built house where
Doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, in that regard, I'm just trying to understand the situation better. Is there a functioning bathroom in the house? I think that would answer a lot of questions.
I would think so. I mean, OP doesn't mention whether or not there's a bathroom, but the fact that this is OP's home, like he or she, wait, do we know if OP's he or she? We do not know if OP's a he or she. So OP, a person who posted, is living here currently. So I would imagine there's a bathroom.
Yeah.
Because they're like returning here from work. Like, this work has been done. Like, they're living here.
Yeah.
So I would think there's a bathroom.
Yeah. At the same time, one thing I want to point out that I'm in no way defending what that worker was doing. nor.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it. You pay for the job to get done,
Right.
right? You have certain expectations, but at the same time, I get a feeling that kind of the OP was hovering over the shoulder of that worker for quite a bit of time,
I think
since
for
they
good
hear all
reason.
the muttering and things like that. Um, I mean, I I tend to think that if someone is, performing some kind of job for you, you can, I think you can definitely, and you should check in once in a while, but you should not be standing over their shoulder watching them work. I think that is, I I don't think that's just
Okay, but does it
that.
justify the peeing in the
Well,
plaster?
I'm not excusing that like that,
Okay.
but
Okay.
I wonder if that part had to do anything with.
Oh, like revenge. Like he's doing us for revenge.
Yeah, I'm not yet. Once again, I'm not defending the
Right. Okay.
actions.
Disclaimer before you guys start yelling at Mr. Deep Voice in the comments. He does not support the peeing in the plaster.
Like, what's the etiquette here? Because I think that
Well,
maybe.
okay. The etiquette for housework, in my opinion, is I agree with you. Like, you trust the expert to do the work unless they show you behavior that makes you suspicious. Then, yeah, observe them. I would say, like, it's warranted. You paid that money. It's probably not cheap to get plaster
Right.
on your walls, I'm assuming. And if this person is showing like a very bizarre attitude from the beginning, then I would support OP in hovering if he or she did that. Because in the beginning, OP does mention that this person has a habit. They've complained about this person before because they're just really dragging their like feet on the work. Like they're not completing the work quickly or like something's wrong with their work. And they've complained to the company to the
Yeah,
point where he's not allowed to be there. Like, well, to the point where OP's like, I don't want this guy working in my house. But they still sent him over, I guess.
yeah. I'm not 100% convinced on that that exactly happened.
We're at opposite ends here. I'm convinced, like, it might have happened exactly as OP said, because again, we're just hearing their side of it. I don't know. I am very
I
stunned
just want to understand more of the background and.
of why he's being in the bucket.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
feel like you're trying to find logic where there perhaps might not be.
perhaps there isn't.
But let's see. OP does have a few updates, but before we jump into the updates, let me see them in the comments. First comment from Cherry Block Red Wine. You might consider calling the health department. And if I had to pay for it myself, I would be having that product tested, the DNA, etc. ETA by product, I'm referring to the bucket's contents. I agree. Like, I think that'll be the fastest way to solve OP's problem, probably. Another comment from CML. He finally got caught. He's probably marked about 100 houses before yours. Oh, OP said, she replied, honestly, or he or she replied, honestly, this was one of my first thoughts. What if, what if, we've been thinking about this too logically. What if it's not a disgruntled employee and it's not like he didn't have access or he's being abused at work or being mistreated and it's not a revenge thing? What if this guy was just a weirdo with the goal of marking 100 houses?
Could be the case.
It would be like one of those crimes where it's like, ho ho, hee hee, like no one will ever know that I have marked 100 homes. It could be his life goal for all we know. But let's see in the updates. Mini update from OP. The bucket with the plaster and urine mix has kindly been moved to the shed by my lovely partner. I've contacted the non-emergency number for the police. They were very confused to what the problem was, but eventually they understood. They said that there's nothing they can do at this point because who knows what would have happened. However, they have given me a log number and asked if I can update them if the company admits anything. She did say I may be able to do more if I go into the station and speak to someone direct. Wait, what? The police report thing is confusing me because if you call the police and they're like, well, there's nothing we can do, but maybe there's something we can do if you come into the station directly. What? Isn't that really bad, like, process for the police? So they're not taking her seriously. So unless she comes in person, okay, that seems like a weird way to deal with it. At this point, I really think OP might need to just consider suing the company. Although I guess the difficulty is proving it, and I guess she has the DNA evidence. So, you know? Oh, also, the reason why I switched to calling OP she is because I'm looking at their little profile image on Reddit, and it's like what appears to be a lady Reddit figure with pigtails. So I'm assuming OP is a she. Now, OP does say, as for the company, just got off the phone with the owner. He's trying to convince me to keep the plaster that's up, that he was just caught short and was going to throw the mix away, etc. I told him I don't care, and now every time I think of my kitchen, I think of this guy just urinating in the middle of it. I told him he needs to make this right, or I'm taking it so far it won't matter anymore. He's going to tell me how they're going to fix it in the morning. Seeing as how I'm not going in the kitchen, we are having a chippy tea, and then I'm going to bed. I've had way too much excitement today, and honestly, I think I'm a bit traumatized. Oh, what is chippy tea? That sounds so like happy. It sounds like yummy tea. It sounds like I'm imagining OP just really stressed after a long day of work and sitting on the bed with her partner, rubbing her back, and she's drinking one of those like pretty like vintage teacups and just sipping like and going like, today has been so stressful. That's exactly how I'm imagining OP. I wonder what chippy tea is. Sounds very fun. I don't buy the company. I do not buy their excuse at all. Excuse me? What is it? The company said, "Oh, yeah, the worker was just caught short and he was going to throw the mix away." Be for real. Be for real right now.
What do you mean caught short?
Like he had an emergency peeing situation, I guess.
Is that what the phrase means?
I don't know. I've never heard of caught short. I just assumed because that's what contextually it sounds like, to be caught short. Like I feel like caught short would mean something like, oh, you're caught suddenly, or you're in a bad situation suddenly, right?
Yeah.
But do you buy it? I just think the company doesn't want to take any like liability. I just think they hope this whole thing will go away, and they're cheapening out. If I was the owner of the business and one of my workers did this, first I would fire the guy, right? Second, I would deduct the damages from this job from his paycheck if you're able to do that. I don't know if you're able to do that actually because he caused damage, but I don't know if that's how legally that thing works. Third, I would try and make it right to the homeowner. And I would just say, we're going to replace all of it. And that's it. Free of charge. We'll replace all of it free of charge. Sorry for the inconvenience. Please don't leave us a bad review. Imagine if OP went on the internet or TikTok to talk about this, right? Your business would literally, oh my goodness, word would travel about how bad your business is. I just think as a business owner, it's just not smart. This is not the hill you want to fight for. You know, like to save what? A few thousands, I'm assuming, for plaster. I don't know how this company charges, but take the loss. Just give OP her new plaster. And I'm so sorry, OP. I don't think I would be able to see our home the same way if I walked into the middle of the kitchen and saw some dude just straight up pants down peeing. Ooh. We might need to move, honey. If that ever happens, all right, it's time to move. Burn the whole thing down. It's time to move. Burn my eyes while we're on the discussion point. Overall, okay, OP, I do not think you're overreacting. If anything, you are reacting just fine, like just the right amount, to be honest. I highly advise you, although this is not legal advice, perhaps look into suing the company if they won't give you your plaster, because this is ridiculous. You caught him red-handed. No, I'm just imagining it. Oh gosh. What if it splattered? It probably splattered all over your kitchen floors too. I doubt this guy has great aim. So he's probably peeing all over the place. I wouldn't be surprised if he was like, oh, let me pee a little bit in the sink too while I'm at it. Like his hose was all over the place. I would not trust it. I would sanitize the whole kitchen. Would you still cook in that kitchen after seeing that? Don't say yes. Don't say yes.
It would have to be sanitized. And I think that the company should think that the company would remove all the plaster and either redo it or remove it and, pay for time lost, etc., whatever it is, and just not complete the job, I guess, or whatever it may be. I think you have to, as a company owner, you have to make it right in that case.
Oh, I agree. Like, it's just, I'm so sorry, Ophi. May your plaster troubles be over. Our next story is from the subreddit aita. I'm thinking about not attending my brother's wedding because of his fiance's prank on my husband. I am 25-year-old female. My husband's 30-year-old male. My brother's 32-year-old male and his fiance's 31-year-old female recently came to visit us in our city. My partner and I are new homeowners and they're staying with us for the first time. My brother's fiance loves Halloween. She's also a Disney adult and has a childlike side to her, which comes out sometimes. She's just super involved, absorbed when it comes to her interest. Anyway, I'm just sharing this for context because my perspective is that she often gets carried away, and I genuinely feel what I'm going to describe was the result of one of those moments where she just took it too far and suffered some negative consequences. She is, however, taking it as a very personal attack. So we disagree, and the disagreement resulted in my husband cutting their visit short, aka they were asked to leave. 31-year-old female has made comments more than a few times now since meeting him that my husband gives off a dark vibe. She's always comparing him to characters from various books she reads. It's not necessarily a criticism. She always explains that they are compliments. Well, I'm not sure anymore. Her reasons for these comparisons are based on his looks, the general vibe he gives off, and his tattoo. He only has one, but it's on his hand. During this recent visit, she mentioned she would love to see someone like him get scared because she can't imagine him getting startled or letting out a scream. Scaring him became her goal during her stay with us. None of us knew about it, not even my brother. The incident causing all the trouble is that she tried to jump scare my husband in the garage. It was dark and she ambushed him in the garage while wearing a full outfit and mask when he was returning from a run. Well, he didn't let out a scream like she wanted. He instinctively reacted by shoving her against the wall. She hit her head and was quite shaken up. Luckily, he realized very quickly by the sound she made that it likely wasn't an intruder. He switched the lights on and pulled her mask off. He told me he was very confused in the moment. Why would she attack him? My brother helped her inside, apologized, made her tea, and then called me. I was out with my brother. I am thinking about taking one of you guys' suggestion and reading some spooky stories next week, guys, for Halloween week. But I guess we're getting one early. Who in their right mind? Like, I'm thinking in my mind, okay, you want to pull a prank on your brother-in-law, which is kind of weird already a little bit, to be honest. Fine. But I'm thinking a harmless prank is like, haha, I don't know, like, I hid his favorite candy. Ugh, that sounds so childish. I don't know what a good adult prank is. But hiding in the garage in the dark, wearing a full-on mask and suit, like a whole outfit, to scare a guy who just came back from a run and is in his garage, like not expecting anyone to be there, is dumb. It is straight up dumb. I think this is one of those situations where it's you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. That is insane. I think she's very lucky. The sister-in-law is very, very lucky that Opie's husband, right? Husband? Yes. That Opie's husband didn't reach for a bat or a golf club to like smack her over the head with it. That is insanity to me. If someone did this to me, I would be so scared and terrified. Do you think that's a good prank?
It's a horrible prank. I mean, I can see, I guess, kids doing something like that, but
Like a kid who
not,
wouldn't know any better.
yeah, but not even to that extent where you dress up in a full-on suit and a mask and
That's so
stay in the
unhinged.
dark and then you ambush someone.
See, hearing it, you say it out loud, describing the situation again, it sounds even more unhinged.
It's just dumb. It's just
She's 30.
yeah, you're
right?
just asking to get potentially hurt or even worse, right?
31's not old, right? But it's old enough to know better, I would hope. So, do you know what a Disney adult is?
Part of that is that she, I guess, probably enjoys Disney
Yeah.
a lot and etc. So I think that's what the Disney adult is.
The Disney adult aspect of I'm calling her sister-in-law. She's sister-in-law to be since she's the brother's fiance, but whatever. Sister-in-law for ease of terminology. She's just immature. It has nothing to do with whether or not she likes Disney. Disney does not encourage you to hide in someone's garage and to try and attack them.
Yeah, it seems a bit irrelevant in this case, I would say.
Definitely irrelevant. I think, though, she does bring it way too far because OP mentions that she's always bringing up how dark OP's husband's vibe is. What does that even mean? Like he's a Disney villain? Are you trying to say something like he's a Disney villain? Like, what is the thinking here? That's like saying, oh, by the way, sis or sister-in-law, your husband looks like Mufasa. Oh, wait, no. Mufasa's the good guy, right? Oops, wrong one. wrong lion. Sorry, your husband looks like Scar from The Lion King. Wait, why did I think of lions as my first Disney movie? Whatever. It's a weird thing to say to anybody. Or like saying, oh, you give me the vibe of Ursula. I don't feel like that's a compliment. Most people do not want to be compared to a Disney villain. Sister-in-law is just giving weird vibes. She's dumb. She's an idiot. I'm sorry, I'm calling it out. She's an idiot. Oh, but your brother's about to marry an idiot. Okay, but let's see where this goes. Opie continues. When we got home, I asked 31-year-old female if she was okay. And I said her prank was stupid to do because she could have gotten seriously hurt. I don't know if it was what I said that bothered her or if she was just waiting for her partner to come home, but she launched into crying about how my husband used an excessive amount of force, knowing it was most likely her just doing a harmless prank. In a nutshell, my husband asked her straightforwardly, "Are you implying I intentionally assaulted you?" She hesitated, but chose to say yes. And my husband responded to that with, "Get out of my house." An appropriate response. I feel like there is no other response to have other than you did something dumb. Now you're trying to blame husband for reacting appropriately. How else is he supposed to react if he thought someone was attacking him? Just stand there and take it? Like, what? I can't believe she's doubling down on this. She's a horrible person. I don't know her very much, but from this instant, she's horrible. Opie says, I tried to smooth it, but my husband was adamant if that's what she genuinely believes, she's not welcome to stay. 31-year-old female chose to stick to her accusation. I decided to side with my husband. My brother's angry with me. He thinks I should have tried to do damage control and let them stay by convincing my husband to lean more into apologizing and pleasing his fiance, who was just recovering from the situation. He thinks this whole thing would have blown over if I'd helped my husband fold. I find this unfair. My brother was counting on me to handle all of this, yet he didn't speak up during the conversation or try to talk sense into his fiance. My husband remained calm the entire time, but he obviously felt insulted by her remarks, and I think that's valid. Why should I have taken my brother's fiance's side over my own husband, especially when I feel like she was wrong for doing all that, then turning around and accusing my husband of wanting to hurt her? My brother says I was short-sighted and should think of their upcoming wedding, but I think he's the one who needs to get his fiance to apologize to my husband. Am I the a-hole? No. Opie, you summed it up very nicely at the end there. The sister-in-law to be, is a menace. She's just playing victim. She got caught. She's embarrassed. She's ashamed, whatever it is. And now she doesn't want to own up to it. And she wants an apology from the man she tried to attack in his own home, dressed up in full gear and a mask. She wants an apology. I don't think Opie or Opie's husband's the a-hole in any way. I think he rightfully handled it the best way, the husband.
Yeah, although I would have to say, let's say in that altercation,
Mhm.
I mean, it is possible that there was excessive force used, right? Where
Oh,
let's
okay.
say, yeah, OP's husband pushed the person away and then like
And I
kind
think
of
she hit her
jumped
head
on
or
them
something.
and then like basically started beating on them, etc. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, there could be the case. I would probably say most likely there wasn't, given what was described.
Right. Like he only shoved
Yeah,
her.
it was,
And then he pulled off her mask
yeah,
and they
and I
realized
would say, given the situation, I think that's a
appropriate amount.
appropriate response to something like that.
Well, that's why I thought I was surprised by the fact that a lot of times people will keep something like people will start reaching for things, right? Like you see movie shows all the time. If they think there's a home invader or someone like a stranger in their home that's going to harm them, they start reaching for something to use as a weapon to defend themselves. So I am already surprised that, thankfully husband only did a shove, but imagine if his instinct was to reach for something.
Yeah.
It would be horrible. So I just think it's a case of play stupid games, you win really dumb prizes, but you really shouldn't expect an apology for it.
Yeah.
The audacity.
Fafo.
Yep, he faffled. Well, no, she faffled after around and found out. So first comment from Do 2G. If she hadn't hidden in the dark garage in a hooded costume, none of this would have happened. There's no way he would have known in the moment that it was her, and I believe anyone would have a similar reaction. Frankly, she's lucky she was not hurt more than she was. There's a direct cause effect here, yet she's not accepting responsibility. I think her behavior falls into the play stupid games category. What we said. Your husband doesn't have anything to apologize for, and it's offensive for them to try to obfuscate her responsibility. Obfuscate.
Obfuscate?
I've never heard of this word. Obfuscate.
It's like basically
Avoid?
kind of hide, mask.
Interesting. Interesting word. Learn something new there. Another comment from Speckle Fried Pickle. That's a fun username. Not that home. Your future sister-in-law is deranged. She attacked someone coming into his own home. He reacted accordingly. How would he know it was her? She faffo. Oh, my bad. I read that in my language, guys. She F-A-F-O, faffoed. Your brother should have told her it's her own fault. Be prepared for more dramatics once they get married and go low contact now. Nothing will ever be her fault. Edit Tad, call your family now and tell them what happened before they spin it and blame your husband for reacting appropriately. Ooh, that's good advice. OP, for sure. Sister-in-law and brother definitely seem like the type to then, we couldn't get the reaction we wanted. So now we're going to spin the story. We're going to tell everyone else how it, quote unquote, actually happened their way, even if it's not the truth, and inflate it and blow it out of proportion. And somehow, OP, even though you and your husband welcomed them into your home, you're going to be the bad guys because you use too much force, and she's probably going to exclude the detail about how she's hiding in the garage with a full getup, trying to attack your husband. Somehow it's going to be something like, I bet it'll be, I was just putting some stuff away in the garage in the dark, and all of a sudden he came back from his run, and I guess he must have gotten a little surprised, and he shoved me so hard I hit my head. I was bleeding. I was injured, and they refused to apologize. I bet you that's how they're going to spin the story.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Crazy. I usually would say, advise your brother to not marry her, but they seem like a match made in heaven. The fact that brother's like, no, it's OP's fault. OP's fault for not convincing her husband to keep the peace. Hello? No, because keeping the peace means he's going to apologize for something he didn't do anything wrong in. And he'd be admitting that he tried to assault his sister-in-law. In what universe is that action going to keep the peace? I don't know. So there's a quick edit from OP. OP says, I would like to clarify, when I met, I tried to smooth the situation. I was not taking 31-year-old female side or doubting my husband in any way. I simply tried to get everyone to consider tabling this until emotions cooled down. And by those emotions, I mean the hysterics of my brother's fiance. My husband was calm throughout, although there was an obvious finality about his decision. He made a statement and disengaged. As mentioned, my brother looked to me, hoping I'd persuade my husband, but I didn't, so they had to leave. The costume. I mentioned in a comment that I didn't get an opportunity to ask that night if she brought an outfit specifically for this prank or if it was my brother's Halloween costume. They go to adult Halloween parties, and we're attending one this weekend, 2 hours from where we live. It was part of my brother's costume, a mask, like a golden masquerade one, but more coverage. It reminded me of the gold-jeweled animal mask from Squid Game, or something you'd wear to a Rothschild's party? Rothschild? What the heck is that?
What?
A Rothschild party in the 70s. I do not know this reference. A Rothschild party in the 70s. And she had on a long robe, cloak with a hood. People ask me to update. I will do that. Please look at my comments too in case I already answered a question you might have. But I think these two are the ones I saw pop up the most. I will be showing this thread to my brother. Okay. If anything, I think the update made it even clearer that sister is deranged. So she's wearing a whole one of those scary masks from Squid Game. So if you guys haven't watched it, great series, very fun watch. Oh, season 2 is coming out soon. So really excited to watch. Let me know you guys are going to watch it. But do you remember what those masks look like? The Squid Game animal mask?
No, but
I shall jog your memory real quick. So these are the mask guys. They're kind of like, imagine the texture of a disco ball, but gold colored and on an animal mask. It basically covers your entire face. It might leave some areas like the bottom of your mouth or whatever, but otherwise pretty creepy. And if you see someone like that in your garage, you're going to think the worst. First thing I'm going to think is, oh my gosh, it's a serial killer. He's come to take me or something like that. So your sister-in-law's unhinged, and I'm glad you stood by your husband. There's no verdict yet, but most of the comments are saying not the a-hole, and they're advising OP to please tell the family the real story. What are your thoughts? A-hole or no a-hole?
No a-hole.
The jury has spoken, guys. Our last story. Oh, go.
No a-hole.
No. I'm done with you. Our last story is from the subreddit. Am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for telling a stranger it was weird that they chose to sit next to me when the public transit was mostly empty? Okay, before we even dive into this, I feel like this is similar to a bathroom stall situation. There is an unspoken rule that people follow, right? If you are going onto a bus or public transit and say there are like, it's all empty, the whole thing is empty, and I am sitting in row 2, and the second person comes and sits right next to me in row 2, we got a problem. I mean, yes, technically, public transit, they can sit anywhere they please. But why? The whole bus is empty. Couldn't you have picked somewhere else? Why do we have to sit next to each other? Why? Just, am I wrong? Is it not like almost like a general consensus, unspoken rule?
I would say so.
I feel validated. Let's see what OP says. So today I was on the streetcar and it was nearly empty. About 20 seats were available. I was sitting by the window and this random stranger decided to sit right next to me. Naturally, I'm thinking, why sit right beside me when there are so many empty seats? So I said, why did you sit next to me? There are so many other seats open. It's just a little strange. The guy shot back with, do you own this seat? I can sit wherever I want. You're being unreasonable. I told him, sure, I don't own the spot. I just don't get why you'd pick the seat right beside me when there are plenty of others. He basically repeated his point. And at that point, I decided to just get up and move because I didn't want to escalate things. But in my mind, it felt like an unwritten rule of public transit that if there are lots of empty seats, you sit by yourself. So, am I the a-hole for saying something? No. I'm glad OP said something because to be honest, I don't think I would have had the guts to say anything because it's one of those kind of like, do you say something, but then are you now an a-hole for saying something because you don't own the seat? But then this person should have known better. But then why are they now making you uncomfortable? It's one of those weird situations where I feel like I would have just, depending on how long the stop is, right? Like if my bus took like an hour, I would have moved. I would just get up and move without saying anything to the person. Like, okay, you won't move, I'll move. But if I just had a 5-minute ride left, I would have just, sat through it, stressed mentally, and then just left the bus in 5 minutes and just rode the whole thing through at that point. What would you do? It's a whole bus full of empty people. Oh, sorry, not empty people, empty seats. But the one guy goes on, he decides to sit next to you.
Yeah, I don't know. Depends, I guess, on the duration of the ride. If the ride is long, maybe I would move.
Maybe. I feel like you wouldn't move. I feel like you'd be like, well, now it's weird, man, if I move. So then I'm acknowledging a problem. So am I wrong? I feel like you would sit there.
Potentially. I mean, it depends. Like if, there are some seats that are like 3-seaters, I guess you call it. Especially like on the trains. And then if there's a gap of one seat, then I think
okay.
It's
yeah, that's fine.
Okay, but
what if it's a 2-seater?
If it's a pretty tight fit, then I would probably move or say something.
You know, it'd be extra awkward. What if it's okay? The whole bus, imagine the whole bus is empty. It's 3 seats per row, per aisle, whatever, right? And this person, not only do they sit in your aisle, they decide to sit next to you. So you're in the window seat. He's right next to you in the middle seat, blocking your exit. And then there's an empty seat right next to him and the rest of the bus.
I mean, that is intentional.
You were targeted.
Yeah.
Okay, I do have a quick story for you guys. So I have gone through this exact situation. I was taking a subway train, right, guys? Took the subway, took the underground train. I was sitting. When I tell you, there's maybe like 5 people in this, like 5 people sitting, like they're all scattered, including me. So 5 people sitting already, but there are plenty of seats, like everywhere, like everywhere the eyes can see, there is space, right? This man comes in and already, okay, I hate to judge people by appearances, but I'm going to be real with you guys. My woman's intuition is pretty good. Sometimes my intuition's like, please don't be weird. Like you meet someone and instantly you're like, please don't be creepy. Please don't be creepy. You mentally start telling yourself, maybe I'm judging this person too harshly. They might seem creepy, but maybe I am shallow human being and I'm trying to judge an angel of a human with the heart of a demon, right? No. The creepy guy does exactly what I think he would do. So in the seating arrangement, unfortunately, right, it's seated almost like a 90-degree angle. So there's almost like 3 side seats with their backs to the window, right, along the cross of the train. And then there's 2 seats that are kind of like perpendicular to those seats. So it's almost like this is the seat setup, right? It's almost like you sitting would make a 90-degree angle, like the corner of a square. Imagine that. I'm sitting on the edge of like maybe the seat that's facing forward, like the normal alignment, like facing forward the train, right? This man goes and decides to squeeze right next to me. He moves to sit right in front of me. So now it's like his legs are here and I am here. So we are now facing each other. Like I'm facing his profile, or I should be, right? He turns the entire train ride. He's pivoting his body 45 degrees just for me. So he's just straight up staring at me the whole train ride. I'm sitting exactly like this, and this guy's just turning like this. And the entire time he's just like, now you might be thinking, okay, that's pretty unbearable. Maybe this guy is like, he has an eye issue and his eyes just don't move in a certain direction, right? It's just unwaveringly like, look straight forward. How bad could this be, right? Just a guy staring at you in train. It's worse. He opens his mouth. You know, it's never a good thing when people like this open their mouth. He goes, oh my gosh, you're so pretty. You look so exotic. And then he proceeds to try and guess what ethnicity I am. When I tell you this was the most unbearably long train ride of my life, like just straight up, I could not wait to be out of this train. I was just saying, oh, please, please, Lord, please. My one regret is that I should have sprinted to the opposite train car. I should have just left that whole train car and just left. Thankfully, my stop was next. So we didn't have to like deal with this. But the whole time, like he probably stared like that for like 3 stops straight before he said something. And then it became a guessing game of, are you this? Are you this? Are you this? Well, I just said nothing and ignored this person and pretended to like read something on my phone or something and hope that this person would take the hint of stop being creepy. So if you guys have any uncomfortable, creepy stories, those are my horror stories. So feel free to share yours. I'm very curious if, I'm the only one meeting wacky people on these trains. Public transit, man. There are unspoken rules that you don't freaking cross. But OP, I feel your horror. I just wish that I had the guts that you did at that time and just left and just moved somewhere else. Now, first comment from Maximum Ear. Not they all, you felt uncomfortable, and it is a weird thing to sit right next to a stranger when there are so many other seats available. OP response, I did feel pretty uncomfortable, felt the whole thing was strange and dangerous. Another comment from Abject Variety. Not they all, it is an unwritten etiquette that you don't sit next to someone if other seats are available. So echoing the same thing, OP responds, that's what I thought. It was nearly an empty streetcar. The person walked on and chose to sit right next to me. Why? Just why? Why do some people choose to be creepy? I will never understand. Down with the unspoken etiquette rule breakers.
See, in their mind, they're being friendly.
No. Ew. I don't want to be friendly with you. Let me be antisocial in my seat. Go be friendly elsewhere. Shoo. Ew. Ew. Yeah. Just gross. Now, those were all of our stories for today, guys. Most of the verdict, obviously, everyone's saying OP's not the a-hole, and I would agree. Do you agree?
Yep.
And those were our stories for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I feel like this batch was particularly horrifying in its own way. So maybe this is your early sneak peek to next week's stories, but we'll see. Now, let me know in the comments what types of stories you'd like, or share your own, or send me stories on Instagram at Honey Hearts Podcast if you want me to read stories that you submit, or if you've seen stories are interesting and want me to take a look. let me know there. And as always, don't forget to like this episode and hit subscribe, guys. We're almost at 3K. And if you're listening to me on Spotify, please give me 5 stars. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.